as I appear to have run afoul of probably the worst woman in American politics, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And by the way, if she's going to report me to the police, if that's how she wants to play it, I'll report you right back. And I won't go to the police. The congressperson from the 14th District of Georgia is unhappy. She's specifically unhappy with me. She's had a tough couple of days.
Have you ever told a joke that bombed so badly someone called the cops? No? Well, Jimmy Kimmel has. When he cracked wise about Marjorie Taylor Greene, she didn't just groan, she filed a police report. Talk about a tough crowd, but here's the thing. We've all had moments where our jokes fell flat. Maybe not alert the authorities flat, but still. Kimmel's situation is like that time you made a dad joke at Thanksgiving and your uncle threatened to disown you, only on a national scale. Curious how Jimmy turned this cringeworthy moment into comedy gold. Stick around. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. People, it appears that we have a new candidate for the title of most ridiculous reaction to a joke. Marjorie Taylor Greene is here to teach us the real deal, so move over, Will Smith. Do you recall the days when politicians engaged in debate? MTG chose to go straight to the 911 speed dial and forego the entire exchange of ideas process.
After she saw it, she tweeted, ABC contacts my employer. This threat of violence against me by Jimmy Kimmel, very rich that a person who did this in her campaign ad is suddenly whining about fantasies of violence, has been filed with the Capitol Police. She called the police and reported this. Not only did she call the police.
After hearing Kimmel's joke, our favorite space laser enthusiast was not pleased. She chose to treat comedy like a felony rather than laughing it off, or, I don't know, coming up with a clever rebuttal. MTG's response resembled a bull in a china shop wearing tap shoes in terms of subtlety. Kimmel's joke, she said, was a dog whistle to the violent left to assault me or worse. Who knew comedians could have such influence?
Called the same police she voted against giving a Congressional Gold Medal to for defending our Capitol against the insurrection. She helped incite, misspelled your, of course, already inspiring fantasies of violence against me. How many new death threats will I get that are your fans? The people she wanted to defund. It's amazing how quickly you can go from these liberals who can't see anything anymore to, what'd you say? I'm calling the cops.
We should be thankful, I suppose, that she did not accuse Kimmel of calling forth the ghost of George Carlin with his late night magic. But hold on, things will improve. It was like watching someone try to use gasoline to put out a fire during MTG's tweet storm. She went all Karen and even reported it to the police. I can picture the exchange. Hello 911? I want to report a serious case of emotional distress. It turns out that you can become a cop yourself by calling the police on a joke. It's likely that the Capitol Police, who typically handle grave threats, believed they were being punked. Can you imagine the conversation about the water cooler? So Johnson, what did you do today? Oh, I just looked into a potentially harmful joke. It was fully equipped with sarcasm.
I tweeted back, I wrote, officer, I'd like to report a joke. After processing the fact that someone called the police on me, believe it or not, this has never happened to me in my life. This afternoon, she wrote, you weren't joking. You hide your misogyny and your racism behind your jokes on ABC.
Naturally, Kimmel wasn't going to pass up this fantastic chance. Officer, I'd like to report a joke, he tweeted, demonstrating once more that he's bringing a bazooka to the spitball fight between MTG and the other players. The internet had an absolute field day because it is the internet. At a convention on the flat earth, memes gained more traction than MTG's conspiracy theories. A well-known meme depicted MTG pursuing joke-shaped criminals while wearing a police uniform. Her fist at the sky and her yelling at passing clouds are the only things that should be punching up in her world, I suppose.
As I appear to have run afoul of probably the worst woman in American politics, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And by the way, if she's going to report me to the police, if that's how she wants to play it, I'll report you right back. And I won't go to the police. The congressperson from the 14th District of Georgia is unhappy. She's specifically unhappy with me. She's had a tough couple of days.
Social media users chose to join in on the fun because they couldn't stop watching the show. People who claimed to be members of an elite force sworn to defend and serve punchlines began using the hashtag #NarJokePolice, which quickly became popular. I've heard that their badge is just a pin pierced through a whoopee cushion. The Big Cheese himself chose to weigh in just when we thought the comedy police had finished their investigation. Yes, people, our former chief tweeter couldn't help but join the battle to protect MTG's reputation.
A lovely thing to say. So I made a joke. I said, where is Will Smith when you need him? Now she's dialing 911 because she got made fun of. She's a snowflake and a sociopath at the same time. And she decided she was going to try to get some political mileage out of this. This is what she does instead of working. She tweets.
Since Trump is an expert in comedy, isn't that right? Who could forget his biggest hits like inject bleach to cure COVID and windmills cause cancer? I tell you, it's pure comedy gold. What was said by the orange turd then? Since Twitter is so 2021, he took to Truth Social to refer to Jimmy Kimmel as a failed comedian. It is a case of the pot calling the kettle pink. It's like a guy criticizing Shakespeare who believes the word "covfeff" is real. Trump has been dominating on stage ever since his presidential debates, so at least he's reliable. You may be curious about Kimmel's reaction to this unexpected roast from the comedy expert himself. Our hero of the night didn't miss a beat though. "I'm just glad to know that I'm living rent-free in your head, Donald," he retorted. "Oh, that must be more painful than consuming only Diet Coke and hamburgers." The worst part, though, is that Trump's sick burn attempt backfired more quickly than you could say person, woman, man, TV, and camera. The public's response to Donnie Diaper's remarks was as positive as a MAGA rally COVID test. People were quick to criticize anyone's comedic ability, pointing out the irony of Trump, the target of more jokes than a clown college. Seeing a fish criticize someone's running form is like that. Additionally, Trump's tweet wasn't just a hit with the general public. The comedy community couldn't help but try their hand at the low-hanging fruit. Always on the lookout for a good joke, Trevor Noah likened Trump's defense of MTG to a disaster movie crossover. He stated, "It was like the Titanic trying to rescue the Hindenburg." You'll remember that picture for a lot longer than Trump's spray tan. Folks, here's the true punchline. Something extraordinary was taking place at ABC while Grumpy Trumpy was occupied with his role as comedy critic. After 2 scoops of ice cream and a Diet Coke, Kimmel's ratings began to soar above Trump's ego. The former president's free publicity turned out to be more beneficial than any advertising campaign funds could purchase. Who knew it could be so profitable to be referred to as a failed comedian by a failed president? People, it appears that our favorite late-night comedian recently gave a masterclass on political humor. Who knew that the bigwigs could get so worked up over a few well-timed jokes? It turns out that humor is the best medicine and apparently the most effective weapon in the political sphere. The worst part is that attempting to silence a comedian is akin to using gasoline to put out a fire. The laughter grows louder as they attempt to silence him. Every attempt to stifle the jokes is transformed into comedy gold, as if the universe has a perverse sense of humor. A backfire of epic proportions indeed. What is the lesson here then? Perhaps it's because a good laugh is priceless in a world full of solemn expressions and harsh tweets. Perhaps it's simply that you have to be at your best when dealing with the prose of political satire, or else you risk being the target of ridicule.